Hello out there, and welcome to 2 Minute Emergency. I am your host, Dr. Leslie, board certified emergency physician, best-selling author, international speaker, and professional photographer. And I am here today with another 2 Minute Emergency. And that is to help keep you healthy, safe, and out of the emergency department. So today's topic is Ready for the Flu Day. Why am I talking about getting ready for the flu? It's still warm outside, or at least here in Texas. Well, let's think about this. The kids are back in school and flu season is almost upon us. Flu season starts in October, just actually 2 weeks away, and it peaks between January and February. And why are we worried about the flu this year? Last year wasn't bad at all. Well, there's a reason last year wasn't bad at all. People were wearing masks, people were socially distancing, and people were taking more care as far as hand washing and using hand sanitizers and all of those things. But as fewer people are wearing masks, people have gotten their COVID vaccines, hopefully. People are still involved with more social activities than they were last year. They are predicting that the flu season will be a lot worse this year. So, number one, I'm going to start off with what's the easiest way to be prepared? Get the flu vaccine. So the flu vaccine is newly prepared every year. So this year it's actually quadrivalent, which means there are 4 different strains of the flu that it's working against. So your chances of being covered are higher and higher all the time. Now, how young can you be to get the flu vaccine? Well, 6 months. 6 months and older can receive the flu vaccine. Now, for that, I'm talking about the injection because you have to be 2 years or older to get the nasal spray, which is another way of taking care of the vaccine easily, less irritating, as you can imagine. Now, that nasal spray is only available if you're anywhere between 2 years and 49 years. So anybody younger than that or older than that, it's best to still get the injection. And who can get the injection? Pretty much everyone. So there was a time where people would say, well, I've got an allergy to eggs, so I can't get influenza vaccine or I can't get any vaccines. Things have changed. For the most part, most people, even with an egg allergy, can get the flu vaccine. But this year, there are actually 2 different companies that have made the flu vaccine that don't use any egg components at all. So you're entirely safe from any egg allergies to get your flu vaccine. And the next question is, all right, so can I get the COVID vaccine and the flu vaccine at the same time? Absolutely, you can. Now, most people would advise you get them one in each arm just to prevent increased soreness, but you can get them both at the same time. They have entirely different mechanisms of action, not a problem whatsoever. And the other thing people want to know, well, okay, it's flu season. I've got these symptoms. I must have the flu. Or do I have COVID? In actuality, there is no way to tell the 2 apart just on symptoms. Obviously, if the course is progressively worse, you know it's more likely to be COVID because COVID is more highly contagious than influenza. And we're all well aware of that. But in the initial phases, there's no way to tell other than doing testing. And the testing is pretty simple. It's still using the swab, and we can check you for influenza if need be. If you are among the higher risk groups, it is important if you are given a prescription for the antivirals to take them. There's nothing that's going to wipe out the flu, but it will decrease the length of your illness as well as decrease the severity of your illness. So if you are prescribed that, please make sure you take it. And the flu is more dangerous in those very young and, of course, elderly, and anyone that has a lot of underlying health conditions. So those are the people we need to worry about the most, as always. So things you need to do to help prevent the flu in the first place. That's what I said, get ready for the flu. First of all, make sure you're well stocked at home. Make sure you have things like your tissues, your hand sanitizers, your disinfectant. Make sure that you have things for the kids to do for distractions. If they're ill, they're laying around. They make puzzles, books, movies, things like that. You want to make sure that you've got the proper over-the-counter medications. So you want something for pain medications. You want fever reducers. You want to make sure, if you have a child, you want to make sure you have a cool mist humidifier. We recommend that because it helps break up some of the congestion, especially when used at night in the bedroom. So some of the basics things you can have. Now, what happens if you get sick? Well, you've got to think about things that you can do to be prepared even before that. You want to make sure you know what your employer's sick leave policy is. You want to make sure that if you're ill and you're not up and about, you want to make sure you have proper things at home for the kids or for the rest of your family. So if you have any easy to prepare meals, snacks, things that the kids can get without you having to jump up and do things all the time. Another thing you want to make sure is that you are prepared to have someone who can take care of your kids or take them to their usual activities so they don't miss out on, their sports activities and things like that because you're under the weather. Now, the same thing goes for your children. If they're the ones who are sick, do you have a support system? So if you do have to go to work, do you have someone who can take care of your kids while you are at work? These are simple things to think about. Now let's get back to the basics as well. We've been talking about through COVID all this time, we've been talking about proper hand washing. The rule still applies. So 20 seconds or singing happy birthday twice still applies. Making sure you sanitize. You don't have to disinfect your entire house, but those areas that are frequently touched, you want to make sure that they stay clean. You want to make sure that you keep your hands away from your eyes, your mouth, your nose, especially when you're in public. And of course, you want to make sure that you cover your nose and mouth when you cough or sneeze. If you don't have a tissue, use your elbow. That'll still work. It's not the best, but that's the next best thing. So keep those in mind, just ways of decreasing the spread. You also want to make sure that you don't head back to work or your kids don't head back to school unless you've been free of fever for 24 hours. And that's without taking any fever-reducing medications. So I hope these are some tips that have helped you along the way to help make this year's flu season a lot easier. Oh, I almost forgot. Those masks. Those masks are a huge reason why the flu season wasn't as bad last year. Continue to wear them. You can only make things better. That's it. So I hope this was helpful. Once again, this is Dr. Leslie, helping you to keep healthy, safe, and out of the emergency department. See you again next time for some more tips. Take care for now.